Hello, guys, gals, and other pals. My name is LeonaDX, and welcome to what I am currently dubbing the Battle Lounge. I got this idea from an old Sajam video where he said that there's no fighting game talk shows or podcasts. Nobody has any real discussions about the genre as a whole. And I figured, why not take up the mantle for myself? Um, I'm not very good at the games, but they mean a lot to me after having been a part of a community for the past several months. And if there's anything I'm good at, it's speaking from the heart. So I figured I would give it a go myself. Um, so as for, I'm going to start with this episode off the bat, going through my experiences with the genre, and kind of how I got to where I am currently. Because it's probably pretty similar to a lot of people who put off playing fighting games for any amount of time, whether it be for a long time, a short time, whatever it happens to be. Um, so uh, I grew up thinking that fighting games aren't for me. I'm sure many people have this same experience where it's like you see what's happening in these games and you're like, "Oh, that looks cool. Ain't no way in hell am I ever getting near that." Because it looks insane at a surface level, which is fair. Yeah, like after playing Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, a little bit of Tekken, a little bit of Blaze Blue, a little bit of everything over the last couple months. Yeah, a lot of what happens in these games is insane. So I get that. But I also grew up in this weird time frame where the big console that was around when I was really getting into video games as a whole was the Wii, because the Wii was just a thing that everybody was cursed to own. So the only real fighting game that I ever had was Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and I'll get into that maybe in another episode about why I don't really view Brawl as a fighting game per se. It's more of a party game to me. But that's kind of where it all started, was with Brawl. It was just something I casually played when all of my friends were over. We would just do all items, 10 minutes. Whoever could get the most kills won, you know? That was the type of game that I played. Later on, several years later, I got a PlayStation 3 after saving up working for a summer. And one of the games that the only real friend that I had that wanted to play with me was Injustice 1. And I did not play that game for very long. It was I I sat down to play with him, both in person and over the internet, and I never understood what was happening. Um, I don't think I ever looked at move lists or anything, but I never understood any of the mechanics. I never won a game, not much less a round against him. And honestly, that's probably what is expected to happen. He knew it was going on. He had played other things like Street Fighter before. So I should have known that, but like I was a dumb kid. We don't understand that putting time and effort into something makes you better at it. It's just expected that you sit down and you play a game and you're both on even footing. That's just not how that works. So after that, I didn't touch anything but Smash uh, until 2017, I think. I think it was 2017 when Dragon Ball FighterZ released. This was the first and ever real fighting game that I was ever excited for. And I think a lot of people were. It released during the height of Dragon Ball Super. I think it was during the Tournament of Power, even. And it looked beautiful. I think, like, the one thing that you can say about Dragon Ball FighterZ is that the game is gorgeous even to this day. I don't have any problems with visuals. And it held up really well according to like what Dragon Ball fans would want. But that was the first one that I really started with. Like I sat down and I played it for hours. I don't think I ever learned a special move. I just kind of mashed button and I mashed dash to get across the screen and do auto combos. Like that's just the casual player experience. But it was the first real dive I took into fighting games. And the last one for many more years. I played fighters for a while, and I kind of just put it down after probably a 60 or 70 hours with some friends and the arcade mode. Because well, one, the online was bad, but that's a different topic. But like that was it. Like once we were all done, we were all done. We put it away and we moved on. It wasn't until Evo of last year, 2022, and Bridget got announced for Guilty Gear Strive. And this was big. It was so big it got to me, and I was not in any fighting game circles at the time. I was barely aware that Guilty Gear even existed. At the point, I knew that Biken was around and that Jacko was around, but I didn't know where those two were from. I've only seen them in fan art. But Bridget got a real round of hype going. One, because she had not been in Guilty Gear. In the last one, she was like the most requested character to come back to the series. But also, it was confirmed that Bridget was transgender. And that was important to a lot of people, especially where I am also transgender. And it got to me, and I got curious about the game. I was like, oh, I've never heard of Guilty Gear. It looks interesting. There's this new transgender character. I might give it a shot. And just so happens right about that time, there was like a crossplay beta. So I gave it a whirl. And I kind of just downloaded it and started mashing buttons with friends. Like I didn't really do much more than that. But I was like, the game feels great to play from like a casual perspective with my friends. And the music was incredible. So I was like, sure, I'll pick it up. I'll pick up the game. I'll pick up the DLC because it went on sale. And this is kind of where the bug hit. Because from that point, I played every character through arcade mode. I beat Nago with every character, sometimes more than once. And I started playing online a little bit. Even though it was frustrating at first because, I think I have the similar experience where everybody's like, oh, you got to go into training mode and learn a billion combos in order to even just play the game, which is not true. But I got frustrated at one point, but I eventually settled down, came back, and just learned how to play the game. And I fell head over heels for it. You could not rip me away from my computer during the time that I had really fallen for Strive. It was impossible to get me to stop playing the game. I got invited by a friend of mine, Vinette, or Tomoka, to go to a little casual locals that she was hosting online. And I showed up and played. Like the environment and the vibes were immaculate. I showed up. Everyone was super friendly, super nice, super encouraging, super helpful. Everything about it was exactly what I wanted from a group of people that are playing a game. Especially one that's like super cutthroat and competitive as fighting games can be. But everybody's just a joy to be around. So we play in this tournament. I do moderately okay for my first experience in one of these. I think I placed 5th in like this 8-player bracket. I think it was either 5th or 6th. I didn't do great, but I didn't take last, and that was important to me. But that started this whole drive for me to want to be better, want to play more. I just wanted to play more and experience more of what the genre had to offer. Um, Vin eventually set up monthly tournaments like this so that we could all get together and like grind these out and really show off what we had learned. Um, and from that point, I was just like, okay, what's the next game I can play? What's the next game I can play? I at this point, I think I knew that Dragon Ball Fighters did not have um, rollback at the point, which was a kind of a problem, but I went online and played it anyway because I just needed more of what was going on. I bought every fighting game that I could find on sale. I ended up buying both Blaze Blue Central Fiction and Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, and I played those for about a day with all of the people in the same group, and I had a blast. I picked up Street Fighter V, and I've been playing that in my off time because I'm super excited for Street Fighter 6. I picked up a bunch of weird ones, like Arcana Heart 3 Love Max. I bought King of Fighters because it was super cheap, and there was a character with my namesake in there. I was like, I have to play Leona in King of Fighters. I have to. But I've just been gnawing at the bit. I've been hungry for more ever since catching this bug, and I think that's really important. Once you find out that it's like at the super high level, it's about like optimizing combos, making sure you do the best thing in every situation, reading your opponent, trying to figure out what they're going to do. Yes, at like the top 1% of players, that's exactly what's happening. But for people like me, people who are like, yes, I want to grind, I want to get better, but I'm also not trying to win Evo. It's really the community that is what keeps all of this fun and exciting and enjoyable. Just being there every month to play Strive with the same group of people and see how well we can do. Like, I placed third last month. I placed fifth this month. Like, I had kind of fallen off, and everybody else around me had gotten better. And it really has inspired me to be like, okay, I got to buckle down and improve so that next time I can beat the people who beat me. And that is really, really, really important to me because I've never felt that way about anything else. I've never felt like the community has driven me to grow, to compete, to be better, not only as a player, but as a person. The community is really what keeps the grind fun. It's what keeps it special. No other community that I have been a part of has been this welcoming and this inviting and wanting to help people, wanting to encourage people to grow, to learn, to be better, not only as players, but as people. It's so incredible to me. And I treasure it so much now that I'm here. I don't know, like, it's amazing what happens in 6 months after buying a game on sale on a whim because one of the characters turns out to be trans femme. All you need is that one little push to make everything happen. And then I think most people will fall in love. Like, there's obviously games that I haven't enjoyed in the scene. I didn't really jive with Tekken. I probably wouldn't ever play a Mortal Kombat because I'm not really into that level of gore. Especially in like a competitive setting, it would probably just gross me out. But everybody's gonna have their own little gripes and problems with a genre, and that's okay. As long as you find what you love and what you want to do, that's all that matters. And from my perspective, this is going to be kind of a short one because I don't really have much more to say on the topic, but I do have some advice for new players who might want to take that step into the genre. One, there's plenty of videos online that can help you. I've never seen a community and genre so full of people wanting to teach people more about the genre, more about individual games, more about being better and how to grow and just have fun with the genre. I've never seen that anywhere else. Um, so aside from just recommending you go to people like Maximilian Dude, people like Sajam, Apology Man, Ramola, Cuddlecore, um, Core A Gaming, Hold Back to Block, and so many more people. Oh, Brian F., the entire CLG fighting game crew, all of those people, and there's so many more on top of that. There's bound to be a million people that you can go and find who share that same love and passion for not only the community but each of their individual games, and that is so beautiful. But on top of that, I advise new players, one, don't wail on something just because. So what I mean is don't buy anything right off the bat. You don't need like a $200 fight stick. I started playing on a PS4 controller. Actually, an Xbox One controller, which that is hell. I don't recommend that. But any other controller that you have is fine. Even a keyboard. Just play on a keyboard if you're playing on PC and you don't have a controller. You don't need to invest a bunch of stuff into these games. And also, if you're new, you don't have to buy like the newest game on the block. You don't have to spend $60 just to feel like you need to experience the genre. Get something cheap. This is a bad recommendation. I don't recommend taking this game seriously because it's a mess. But Ultra Fight the Chianta 2 is free. If you want to see something insane, but also really, really stupid and fun, that game is free on Steam. You can try that. There's also, I forget the name of it, but there's a game that's available in your browser. That is it is a free open source fighting game. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have talked about it. But also, you don't really have to do anything once you start these games. You just show up and play. You don't have to sit in training mode for several thousand hours. You don't have to practice combos. You don't have to learn about frame data right off the bat. What you should be doing is just sitting down and playing the game. That's all I can ask of new players. Sit down, play, experience the story. I sat down and the first thing I did was watch all of Strive's story. I watched all like 6 or 7 hours of the cutscenes that were available. And it was so good. It got me so invested in all of the characters that I was seeing. But yeah, just do whatever you want. Sit down, play arcade. Sit down, play online. See what all the other modes there are. Especially with Street Fighter 6. There's going to be a ton of stuff that comes out for that game. There's so much to these games. All I ask is that you sit down and do what you want to do. You don't have to do anything that anybody else tells you to do. Follow your heart. Do what you want to do, and that will make everything more enjoyable for you. I think that's all I have to say on this topic. So if you guys like this, I would really appreciate some feedback. Just about everything. What you liked, what you didn't like. Don't be too mean because I will be sad. But I do appreciate any feedback that anyone has for me. I'm going to try to do these a little more often whenever I've got time. So you'll probably see more. Things are subject to change just because I'm kind of figuring this out as I go. But I really appreciate everyone for listening. And hopefully y'all can find at least a fraction of the amount of joy that I've experienced with fighting games. So thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will see you all next time.